Ye Xian's final letter nearly shattered Gu Jinzhao's wedding chamber and almost left Chen Yanyan's position as her lawful husband unstable. In truth, Gu Jinzhao had always known very clearly that Ye Xian loved her deeply. For so many years, he had silently stayed by her side. Whenever she faced difficulties, he was always the first one to step forward. No matter what happened, he always supported her. His nature was restrained and forbearing. He never forced anything from her. He placed her in the deepest part of his heart and protected her carefully. On the day Gu Jinzhao's marriage to Chen Yanyan was settled, Ye Xian, who was usually proud, calm, and steady, completely lost control. His emotions collapsed. With despair filling his eyes, he looked at Gu Jinzhao and questioned her word by word. Gu Jinzhao knew too well how sincere and heavy this love was. She was the one who had personally shattered the heart of someone who had only ever held her in his own heart. Heartache, reluctance, and guilt tangled together, pressing down on her until she could hardly breathe. In the end, she fainted on the spot. Not long after, Ye Xian's father passed away, and the Ye family declined. Ye Xian did not remain in the capital. Instead, he requested to go to the battlefield at the border. Gu Jinzhao also slowly restrained her feelings for Ye Xian and began learning how to properly maintain her marriage with Chen Yanyan. That lasted until the news of Ye Xian's death, together with the final letter he had left behind, reached Gu Jinzhao's hands. In his letter, Ye Xian confessed that his heart illness had already become severe and that he was never going to live beyond 3 years. Back then, he had chosen to go to the border partly for Gu Jinzhao's sake and partly for his own. Rather than dying in confusion on a sickbed, he would rather go to the battlefield and live fiercely for once. He even recorded all the military merit he had won with his life at Tiger War Gorge under Chen Yanyan's name. Anyone with clear eyes could see that Ye Xian had done all of this for Gu Jinzhao. With these military achievements, Chen Yanyan's official path would become much smoother. For the rest of his life, Chen Yanyan would also have to treat Gu Jinzhao well. When Gu Jinzhao returned to Tongzhou to observe mourning and left the capital, Ye Xian had once silently made a vow in his heart. After 3 years, he would never allow anyone to bully her again. He did it. He even used his own life to pave the road ahead for Gu Jinzhao. Ye Xian exchanged his life for Chen Yanyan's future, while Gu Jinzhao became the center of this final bargain. His last wish was only that Gu Jinzhao could live well and not be bound by anyone or anything. The moment she read the letter, Gu Jinzhao could no longer deceive herself. Her feelings for Ye Xian had never been as simple as the bosom friend she claimed him to be. She began to doubt the choice she had made back then. Had she married Chen Yanyan because of love, or because of the binding interest between the Gu family and the Chen family? She wavered between her identity as the mistress of the Chen family and the weight Ye Xian had left behind. Her heart was full of guilt. She felt that she had wronged Ye Xian, and she had also wronged Chen Yanyan, who had always treated her with sincerity. The true reason Gu Jinzhao married Chen Yanyan hid the feelings she could never say aloud to Ye Xian. Did Gu Jinzhao truly have feelings for Ye Xian? If she only regarded him as a confidant, why would she panic when she saw him coughing blood? Why would she cry on her wedding night until she nearly fainted? Those deliberately distant and polite words were only kind lies she had been forced to say. Compared with her calm restraint toward Chen Yanyan, the instinctive stirrings she had toward Ye Xian seemed far more real. Gu Jinzhao was always calm and distant toward others. Only in front of Ye Xian would she lower all her defenses. She would tell Ye Xian the bitterness hidden in her heart. She would worry about his safety and plan for him, thinking of ways to help him avoid disaster. Ye Xian, too, would risk offending powerful court officials in order to secretly protect the Chongqing Marquis estate. In front of Ye Xian, Gu Jinzhao did not have to keep pretending to be strong. This kind of exception was something she rarely gave to anyone else. Once, when Ye Xian coughed blood, Gu Jinzhao's face turned deathly pale. Her eyes became panicked and dazed, and she instinctively wanted to step forward to support him. The fear and heartache in her expression could not be hidden at all. Her entire mood was being pulled along by him. That kind of reaction came from instinct. It was very hard to fake. On the eve of her wedding, she was clearly about to marry someone else. She should have restrained her emotions and maintained the dignity expected of a noble young lady. But when she thought that from then on, she and Ye Xian would walk separate roads, when she thought that she clearly held him in her heart, yet could only deliberately push him away, and when she thought of Ye Xian's deep love receiving no response, she could not stop her tears. She cried until she almost fainted. If he were only an ordinary confidant, without even the slightest trace of love between them, she would never have lost control to that extent. When Gu Jinzhao faced Chen Yuanyun, she remained polite and distant the entire time. There was no fluttering of the heart and no loss of control. Everything she did came after weighing the benefits and consequences. In daily life, she always maintained the perfect distance from him. She carried herself as a dignified noble woman, courteous and proper, with a strong sense of boundaries. She would not reveal her weakness in front of Chen Yuanyun. She would not tell him the secrets hidden in her heart. She would not let his joy, anger, sorrow, or happiness affect her emotions. From beginning to end, she treated him with polite compliance and cautious probing. She agreed to marry Chen Yuanyun not because her heart had been moved, but because after experiencing many things in life, she made a choice based on layers of consideration. Chen Yuanyun held power in court. He was steady-minded and had a stable foundation. He could protect the entire Gu family and help her resist both the schemes inside the household and the conflicts in court. Ye Xian had a chronic illness. The Chongqing Marquis estate had many enemies in court, and his temperament was also somewhat obsessive and intense. If Gu Jinzhao stayed with him, they might be dragged into countless disasters or even risk both of their lives. Chen Yuanyun, on the other hand, was calm, forbearing, and cautious in his actions. He would not act recklessly out of emotion. He could give her a stable marriage in name. After the wedding, Gu Jinzhao and Chen Yuanyun always treated each other with respect. She married Chen Yuanyun not because she had let go of Ye Xian, but because she cared about Ye Xian too much to gamble with both of their lives. She could only choose this loveless marriage to help her family, while also quietly helping Ye Xian. This was the real meaning behind Ye Xian giving way during his father's funeral procession. In the end, Ye Xian died at only 26 years old. Many people watched the scene in a splendid match where Ye Xian's father's funeral procession met Gu Jinzhao's bridal procession and thought he voluntarily gave way only because he loved her. But in truth, this matter was not that simple. In my view, Ye Xian's act of yielding hid 3 unspeakable hardships. According to custom, the dead should be honored first, and the wedding procession should have given way to the mourning procession. Yet Ye Xian personally ordered his family's funeral procession to stop by the roadside and let the bridal carriage pass first. It was true that Gu Jinzhao was in his heart. He did not want his family's funeral to clash with the joy of her wedding, and he did not want her marriage to encounter any disturbance. This was the last bit of fulfillment he could give her. But this act of yielding was not only because of love. At that time, the Chongqing Marquis estate had just lost the old marquis. Its foundation was already unstable, and the entire household was in a precarious state. If Ye Xian had insisted on arguing according to custom at that moment, it would have been the same as publicly tearing all cordiality apart with Chen Yuanyun. Political enemies in court would certainly have seized the chance to attack. Impeachments and purges would have followed one after another, and the entire Ye family might have suffered a devastating disaster. He could not gamble with the lives of his entire clan just for a moment of pride. This step back was the forbearance he had no choice but to swallow as the heir of the Marquis estate. There was another layer to it as well. It was a farewell he gave himself. Watching the red bridal carriage slowly pass by and listening to the festive music and drums in his ears, Ye Xian stood beneath the white funeral banners. In his heart, he already understood very clearly that the girl he loved would now become another man's wife. From then on, their lives would no longer intersect. On the long street, the red and white processions brushed past each other. This was the last time in this life that he and Gu Jinzhao would be so close. After his mourning period ended, Ye Xian did not remain in the capital. He submitted a memorial of his own accord and requested to go to the border, where war was frequent. Others all thought he wanted to serve the country loyally and earn merit for his family. No one knew that half the reason he left the capital was to give the declining Marquis estate a path to survival, while the other half was because he wanted to escape this city filled with memories of the two of them. At the border, yellow sand filled the sky all year round, and war never ceased. The once gentle and refined heir of the Chongqing Marquis estate was worn down by blades and blood. He put on armor, held a long spear, and fought through battlefields soaked in blood. Every time there was a battle, he charged at the front and never feared life or death. Ye Xian fought at the border for several years. He guarded the peace of the frontier and protected the safety of the entire Yi family, but in the end, he still could not escape fate. In the final great battle, in order to cover the safe retreat of the soldiers under his command and the civilians at the border, he stayed behind with a small group of troops to hold off the enemy. Very soon, they were surrounded layer after layer by enemy forces. Even when his strength was exhausted, he did not retreat a single step. This young general, whose life had always been filled with regret, was finally buried in the desolate sands of the border, wrapped in horsehide after dying on the battlefield. He was only 26 years old when he passed away.